Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Matt Reiner with K15T, and this is our first ever live stream right here on YouTube. That's right. You've joined us here on YouTube live. Now, what does live mean? It's like watching a YouTube video, except you can watch me make a lot of mistakes, and also you can help correct those mistakes or contribute to the conversation or show me what it is I should be talking about. And you can do that with the comments area. Just to the side of me, you can go ahead and add questions there, thoughts there. I am monitoring that, so anything you contribute here will help guide the conversation. That's right, we are not logged into Zoom. We can actually make an interactive and fun community-based experience, so let's make that happen. You can also just sit back and watch if you don't want to log in with your Google account, but if you do want to contribute and add to the fun, please jump in there. It is highly encouraged. In fact, that's why we're doing things in this format, because we want to know what you want to talk about. Also joining me is my hype man, Stefan, who will be rocking in the chat today. He's going to be posting some links and other resources so that you can follow along. You can also take those resources with you to help other teammates. Those will also be linked down in the description. One of the great things about live streams also is that this will all be recorded. So if you're like, wow, that was great, I wish someone else could have joined us, I'm talking to you, Wendy in Australia, then they can check out the recording later on. So be sure to grab that later. So today we are going to be talking about templates. That's right. Absolutely, Beth. Yep. Confluence is all about collaboration on every level. And today we are in the template level. So we want to talk about how to use templates in Confluence in the very best way possible. Yes, there are features around templates. There's things we can do, but what do we really want to do as teams? What do we want to accomplish with templates? And templates really come down to consistency. We're all looking to create consistency with the content that our organization generates. And if you're part of even a small organization, you can see how quickly content can sort of get out of hand. It can run away with itself. You can be looking through, I don't know, meeting notes, and you'll find that, oh, wow, this stuff is completely inconsistent. It's all over the place. It's hard to know what to look for or where to find the information you need. And so templates are a way of bringing consistency to Confluence. The trick is, just like with Lego bricks, it's great to have bricks that all interlock, like content created with templates, but you also need to have mechanisms by which to put them together, like the whole system that Lego's built around. So we'll talk a little bit about how you can use some macros to encourage people to use the right templates at the right times. So let's dive right into the very first bit, which is, what are some use cases for templates? So I have a pretty good one right here. So this is a projects page. This is a projects page for the Good Software team. And as you can see, I can very clearly browse through the active projects that are going on in the company. This is really important because, maybe as a project manager, I need to see, how are things going? Who is running things? When are these due? What's the current status of those? I can just browse through this really, really quickly and find that information, even if I'm the CEO of the company. And of course, I can jump into any one of these projects and take a look at what's in here, right? And this project looks the same as this project. And that is all because all of these projects are using the same templates. Now, there's a lot more going on here, and this is where these best practices come in, but I wanted to start with the end result so you can see the amazing things that we're going to be doing here today. So first off, there are some things to know about where to put templates. So if you are a space admin, so let's say that you, maybe you administrate this Good Software space, and you want to create a new template here. You can create a template that isn't going to impact the rest of the organization. Maybe it's something that just your team wants, something like that. And to do that, you would come into the space settings area here. Look at these new space settings that Atlassian has just redesigned. They look so good. I'm so excited about these. So if you come down to look and feel, you'll see templates here. So if I jump into templates, you'll see that there are no user-created templates here at the moment, but I can click to create a new one. Now, there is this blueprint templates area here. blueprints are a whole nother beast, maybe for a whole nother stream. If you are using custom blueprints today, would you let us know in the chat? Because I would love to know how teams are using those. They're a great idea, but just not super utilized at the moment. Anyway, this is where I can create a template for just people who are working in this space. I can also jump over to the settings in Confluence. So my user here, Aziza, is an administrator, so I can actually create templates that are for everyone in the entire Confluence site. So if I come over to global templates here in the sidebar, yes, I did just use a find on the page feature in my browser because it's very hard to navigate these settings. So here you can see a list of all of the templates that we have created in this org. And you can see who has created them. You can see what they're supposed to be used for, just sort of a description of them. And this is where you can also come in and edit these. Now, there's always questions on, okay, so maybe I'm a project manager and I want to create a template that the whole organization can use. How can I do that? How can I, create something that everybody can get to? And the answer is, well, you can't. Right now, with the way Confluence works, either you can create a space template if you have space admin permissions, or you could create a global template if you have global admin permissions. There isn't a way to sort of create a template and then pass it over to the admin to make it global or something like that. So generally, the technique that most people use is they will create a space template, and then they will send the link of that to their space or to their admin of the Confluence org, and they will say, here you go. Would you recreate this as a global template? So be aware of that. It's a bit annoying, but there are ways to get around that. So let's go ahead and create a global template here. Beth wants to know, how is a blueprint different than a standard template? I'm intrigued too. So blueprints are they're an extension of templates. So it's a way of creating actually a whole collection of templates with maybe some variables already filled out. It actually arranges them in the page tree. So if you've ever created a meeting note, which is sort of a built-in blueprint in Confluence, it'll create a parent page that is the overview page for all your different meeting notes, sort of lists them out. And then it also lets you create those templates for meeting notes underneath. So it's sort of this idea of it's a collection of templates that you can kind of do some formatting around. The trick is you have to be able to write them in code. I'm trying to remember how you define them. I think it's some kind of XML base, but it's not like a point and click experience where you can do that. Now, on the server and data center side, there are some apps to help you put together blueprints. They're okay. They're okay. I would love to see it built into Confluence, certainly into Confluence Cloud, but I'm just curious to see who would be interested in that and how you might use it. So there are some really awesome resources from Atlassian. Thanks, Stefan, for throwing that in to the chat. All right, so here I am in the Confluence template editor. And one of the things you'll notice is this looks a lot like the page editor. That's because it's like the same page editor, which is great because you'll be familiar with it as well. So one of the things I can do right away is I can add a page title here if I want. In this case, let's see. Let's create a new one called Team Question. That's what this particular template is going to be about. And what it's going to be used for is kind of those situations where our team wants to work together, ask a question, and sort of come up with an answer for things. So here we go. I've created the title here. One of the first things you're probably going to want to add are page properties. Page properties, this is just a typical macro that's built into Confluence, but it's super powerful when combined with templates. So what page properties are they're sort of a collection of metadata about the page. And we actually saw that on the projects page where we saw each of the projects and then some information about them. That's what we can define right here. So once you've added the page properties macro, you can add a little table. I want to simplify this thing just a bit. Let's see. Am I the only one who's still, training themselves how to use this? The table macro. Let's see. I want to do a header column and not a row column because I think it's pretty. So I'm going to say asked by here, and that's just the person who asked the question. And I'm going to say status. Now, one of the cool things that you can do here in a template in Confluence is you can give instructions on how to use the template. If you've used templates in other tools, it's very easy to like not know what you're looking at because it's just maybe defined in a Word file or text or something, or maybe it'll say like, do this thing and delete this text when you're done. It's kind of a messy solution. So what we can do here is we can insert a little something called placeholder text. This is something we can only put in Confluence templates. And with placeholder text, I can give instructions here. So I'm going to say, at mention someone, right? You should probably elaborate a little more. Maybe at mention the person who is asking this question. But here we go. Just at mention someone, and this is going to be actually here. I actually want to add a status macro, right? So you can add macros in a template just like you would on a normal page. And I'm going to say, okay, set a status. Perfect. And I'm just going to leave it at that gray. So now the person who opens the template, they'll know, hey, I need to set a status here, right? So now I can add some content here, some typical Confluence content. So I actually have some over here on my other screen. So I'm just going to drop that over here. So this can be any of the same kind of content that you add to pages. You're just doing it here in a template. So that doesn't matter as much. Another cool thing that you can add in a template is a variable. So if I go in here, I say new variable. So these are an interesting part of templates, one where you have to have the right use case for it. Beth is asking if placeholder text is new. I don't think so. I believe it's been in even the Cloud template editor since the start, or since the restart, I should say. Maybe it's new. It's definitely from the server and data center days, but it was called instructional text back then. So it's been renamed, but same concept there. So here I have my variable, and I want to edit this a little bit. So first of all, I'm going to give it a name. So it really depends on your use case. I'm going to say, I'll say company name. Right? That's probably a good one. So here we go. We got company name. I'm going to add an underscore there. And you can actually have multiple different types. So it could be just text. So when someone creates the template, they just type in a single line of text. It could be a multi-line of text. If maybe you want to have, maybe you're creating a template for putting together quotes for your sales team. And so you need to have areas where they can, add some customized text. You could use the multi-line text here. Or you could use the list feature. So you could actually have options. So maybe if you're, again, on your quote, if you have multiple products, you could select the name of the product that you're building a quote for using your template. But I'm just going to use the text one here. And what I can do now is, I can use this kind of like you would with mail merge in Word if you've ever used that. So you can say like, maybe if you have a new employee, you could say, I'm finding the editor here. You can say like, all right, editor, calm down. It's a live stream. We're here to play. There we go. Welcome to company name. It's great having you here. And then later you could say at, and then you can grab that same thing, give it a copy, and paste it. And so you could see how you could have multiple variables in a page, fill out all, put them all throughout your text. And then when somebody goes to actually create a page from that template, they'll have to enter in the value and it'll auto-populate that. So very similar to sort of a simple variable experience there. Let's see, I'm just going to check the chat. All right, cool. So that is a little bit of what you can do visually in the editor. There's one other really cool thing that was just added here. And actually, it's been re-added because with Confluence Cloud, we're looking at a fresh new editor. And so we now have the ability to add media in here. So what I'm going to do is I want to add some imagery, right? Let's get some flashiness in here. Why not? So I'm going to go to my desktop. There we go. And let's add some images. So this is great. I can drop some images in here, which, that just makes sense. These images are way too big right now. Let's get this a little bit smaller. There, that's beautiful. I'm not gonna spend too much time formatting these because another thing I might want to do is I might want to attach a file. So let's go and do the same kind of thing, go back into the files menu, and I'm going to get this external interview template. So for example, maybe if when people pitch a new product feature, you might want to have a document that they can send out to external stakeholders to do some survey work, some research work to understand, what those people are looking for in a feature. You can now attach those doc templates right to your Confluence template. So that can be really handy because your new page that people can create can be a total jumping off point into a process that maybe happens outside of Confluence. So this is a brand new feature that was added. Thank you so much, Avni and team, for adding this back into the template editor. It's really, really, really nice to have this. There's also some more new features coming, and I'll talk about those in a bit. So I'm going to jump out of the editor. Oh, no, I'm not, because there's one other secret thing that you have to know about when creating templates. And that is, if I come over to this menu, I can add labels. Now, this is really, really important because as you saw on that projects page at the beginning, I was able to group all of the projects that I have and list those really easily on a page. And I'm doing that using labels. So labels are another form of metadata that you add to pages in Confluence, and they let you create all sorts of cool interconnections between stuff all over the place. So this is my team question one. So I'm going to just add a team question, right? That kind of fits my naming scheme for labels. And what this means is every page created from this template will have that label. So at any point in 10 years, if I want to find out how many team questions we've ever asked, I can go to Confluence Search, filter for that label, and I'll see all the pages that were created from this template. So that's really, really cool. So I'm going to jump out of the editor here, and I want to show you one other thing that is a bit important. So if I come back to the space settings here. So, whoops. So here is the space settings. And remember, I jumped in here to look and feel. This is where you can see all of the templates that were created just for a space. There's a unique thing that you can do within a space that you can't do with global templates, and that is you can promote them. So you can see this project template that I've created here in this space. This is already promoted. And what that means is it's going to be really, really visible to people when they go to create pages. So let me show you what that looks like. So if I jump back to projects here, first I'm just going to create a page, because once we've created our template, the key is to get people to use it, right? Because it's not useful if nobody is using it. We don't want them to start from a blank page. We want them to use our project template. So there's a couple of ways that can happen. So first off, people can click this templates button up here, and this will let them see the entire templates library. Now, Confluence comes with 90 plus included templates, which your team can customize. Or if you're like, hey, we're never going to use a competitive analysis template, your admin can go in and turn these off. But the really cool thing is you can look at each of these, get a preview of them. You can go and actually see a documented example of that, or you can click Use Template to jump right in. So that's one way to get started. You can also just, wherever you are in Confluence, just hit Create, right? Or you can start creating a page from the side panel, and you can just browse the templates right here. So this is actually that same library that we just looked at. It's just right here at the beginning. We can see those same previews. I can even click to have one thrown right into my page. And what you'll see here is this promoted area. So if I click promoted, I'll see there's my project template right there. I can see it here on the side, and then I can click it, and that will throw that template right into my page so that I can get started really quickly. So that's pretty great to have that boiled right in here. That's a fairly new experience on Confluence Cloud as well. And just a cool little pro tip I found, you can also start from a Word file or a Google Doc in here. If you go to the import menu, you can just go and pick a document that you want to bring in. That's a cool thing that I just didn't even know was part of the editor until today. So we're learning all sorts of cool things. Just checking the chat here. So I have a question. I want to use a drop-down list variable in a template for valid status values, and then insert the selected value using the status macro into the page to get styling. Is that possible? Unfortunately not, because a macro in Confluence, you have to input data or information into a status macro, like some text, in a different way than you would by just dragging or adding a variable onto the page. So unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to add one inside of a status macro because it's not what's called a body macro. So a body macro is like this one, this page properties one, where you can actually put stuff into the body of the macro. So here, yes, you could put variables, but in a status macro, unfortunately, you can't, because I think that's called a block macro, where you have to put the text in differently. That would be really, really cool. Seeing a fantastic idea, but unfortunately not. All right, so one final way, and one of my favorite ways to create a template and to make it really, really useful is right here. So you can see I have a great little button, and if I jump into the editor here, this is the create from template macro. This is just a macro that's part of Confluence, and if I go into edit it here, you can see I can set the text on the button. So I did create a project because that's what people do with a button. And here I can pick the template that I want it to use when people click that button. So it puts the promoted pages at the very top, I believe, or maybe it just puts the page I've selected at the top. That could be. And then at the very bottom, you'll see here's my custom templates down here at the bottom. So puts all the custom ones at the bottom. So scroll all the way down, grab your template, and then finally you can pick a title. So this is pretty cool because maybe in the example of meeting notes, you might want to have all your meeting note pages have a similar name. So it might want to be, you might want to do current date and space name, because maybe the space name is always the team name or the project name. So that will work out well. And then maybe you want to just say, maybe add some instructions here, like a short description, or let's say meeting description. How about that? So that's probably, it's not super well written, but it sort of gives people instructions on what should they add here. So now every page created with this button will have a title of the current date, that'll be automatically put in there, the name of the space, and then people can edit this right here for whatever they want. So I'm going to do, I'll change this to project description, because these are projects that people create here. And then you can pick what space should these be put in. So we want them put into our project space. So I'm going to save this and show you how this create from template macro works here. So here's the button. If I give it a click, it just throws me right into the editor with that template loaded up. And now you can see here is that title that we created. And then I can just go in here and update this. So this is really, really powerful, because not only are we using things like the page properties macro to make sure all the right metadata is in place. If this page has, or this template has labels, let's see, I don't know if it does have, yeah, so it already has a label called project. Those are automatically added, which is really cool. And now even the name is consistent. So this is becoming really, really powerful. But at K15T, we always like to push it a little bit further. So we created a new app. It's a free app on the Atlassian Marketplace for Confluence Cloud that's called Create from Template. Wow. Create from Template Pro. So with Create from Template Pro, it does all the same things that the Create from Template button does, and then some. Because we found there were some other things we wanted to do. Like, what if we want to have all of our projects go to another space. Maybe we want all the projects across our entire organization to live in another Confluence space, but I still want to have a button right here. How do I make that happen? So I can, just as the other one, I can add text to the button. So I could just say create a project pro. I can pick a template. In this case, one of the limitations is I can't pick the templates that are just on a space level. I have to pick global templates. So I'm going to pick the documentation task template here. Actually, maybe I should just do create a task topic. Down here on the page title, we can do some really cool stuff. So just as before, we can do things like add the date and the space name, but then also we can add variables here. So I'm going to say, let's see, for this, I'm going to say how to, and because this is going to be a task topic, it's going to tell people sort of how to do something, how to, let's see, we'll just say job to be done. This isn't great instructional text. I don't write well under pressure, but this is going to be a variable that people have to fill out when they create something with this template. I'll show you what that'll do in a minute. So there we have our single variable. We could have as many of those as we want. I want to put that in this space, or maybe because it's going to be like a documentation type thing, I'll put it in the Smart App space. That's one of our documentation spaces at Good Software. And I want to put it under the Getting Started page, because these are going to be some tasks to help people get started. I can change the style of the button. So I want to make this primary. So I want to make it nice and blue so people will click it. Maybe I'll give it an icon. So give it a question mark here. I can even reposition that, and I can add additional labels that are added beyond just the ones in the template. So maybe I want this to be, this is for Smart App. So that way in the future, I can search for pages that were for Smart App that are also task topics. So I've created all these changes here in the macro. I'm going to go ahead and click publish. So now I have my big, beautiful blue button. If I click this, here I have to fill out my variables. So I'm going to say how to open a window, right? It's a pretty simple task topic I'm creating here. And it's going to go ahead and create that page exactly where I told it. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and edit the page. And here I am. So you can see it's done the same magic, right? Appended some things. This might not actually make sense in this use case, but those work. And then here's my variable right here. So there's the text that I put in the title, and then I entered this into the variable. And now my whole title is populated. And also my label has been added additionally to this. All the magic with templates has happened. Plus I get the control of putting it where I want it, adding an extra label to it, all that cool stuff. So these are just some of the really cool things that you can do with templates. There are so many other fun things that I wish we had time to talk about, but we're trying to keep this timing a little bit short, since I know it's at the end of the day for some people. It's at the, near the beginning for others. So couple of things that we would love to have from you. We have a survey that we're going to drop into the chat here. We would love to know, what do you think of this? Was it too long? Was it too short? Was this good timing? Was it bad timing? I guarantee you it will be short or your money back. It's not one of those surveys where you open it up and you're like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I don't want to do this now. Please let us know, give us your feedback. Even if you're watching the recording of this stream, definitely jump in and add your thoughts. And thank you so much for joining us for our first ever live stream. If you want to know about other best practices, how to use Confluence in the best ways possible, there's a whole bunch of stuff on our YouTube channel. We have a whole series of Confluence best practices to check out. You can also find us, K15T folks, all over the place on the Write the Docs Confluence Slack community and in the Atlassian community as well. So hit us up there, ask questions that you have on how to use Confluence in the very best way possible. And of course, there are so many other great ways to use Confluence, and at K15T, we want to explore those with you. So please, share this link with other people who are trying to create great templates. They want to use them in the very best ways, and join us for another live stream or another video as we continue to explore how to use Confluence to share what you do best. See you, everybody. you.